Recently, I've been obsessed with these catch and cook videos where these guys will dive right into the ocean and before you know it, they're bringing up the most beautiful, delicious looking lobster. And for the last several months, I've been preparing to be in this situation.
Lucky for me, I'm not doing this alone. Little secret, I found the perfect person to guide me.
This is my boy Connor. He's the one that's gonna help me find a lobster today.
I've caught thousands of lobsters here. This is my livelihood. This is how I make a living. It's been my best season so far, so I'm pretty stoked to get in the water and show you around.
Now that we know our captain, we've got to get from point A to point B. But diving Florida's waters can be dangerous, so we have plenty of things to keep us safe. Like a wetsuit, gloves, long socks, fins, mask, snorkel, and a dive knife.
We keep a dive knife on us just in case any sharks want to get funny with us.
All right, we're gonna get to the lobsters, but my grandma said she really wanted to fish for dinner tonight. So first, I have to catch a fish.
We make sure grandma eats good here.
And so our mission began exploring the open waters of South Florida, diving into the first of many environments in this video. The first thing I do when I get in the water is a little bit of recon, because usually whenever you're diving a ship, there are so many little hidden pockets that you could go into. For example, on the right side here, you see that it goes all the way down, but then on the left, there's a school of mangrove snapper just kind of hanging out in the bow area. Also, if you want to make this video more interactive, you could hold your breath with me while I'm underwater. Just make sure you're careful because I could stay underwater for a really long time. After I have somewhat of a bearing of the environment around me, I'm gonna start to target my fish. The only thing is that the technique they're using is actually extremely disorienting. It's called schooling. Schooling is when there are so many fish around you that you're not really able to single one out, and that's their main defense mechanism because it's not really like they have any sharp teeth or something that would scare a large predator like myself away. And no matter how big of a fish you're hunting, it's so important to never forget about shallow water blackout. The way I stay safe from blacking out is by spending twice as much time above water as below water. My strategy here to get the biggest snapper possible was to go to the bottom and wait for all of the fish to swarm me. At this point, usually a bigger fish won't actually see me in the middle of the swarm. They'll come in close and then I'll be able to shoot it very easily. Except this was a little bit different of a school. You see they're all very skittish and none of them were really acting chill at all. This will happen from time to time and it's really important to be patient in moments like these. You don't want to spend your time and energy potentially chasing undersized fish. Now I want you guys to take note of how slow I'm approaching this mangrove snapper. If I were to swim in as fast as I can towards him, he would totally run from me. The goal is to make it look like you're a nice gentle giant. And then when they're finally close enough, you go in for your shot. If you're lucky enough to hit your fish, it's important you apply forward pressure so that it doesn't get off the end of your spear.
Grandma ain't going hungry tonight. Connor's somewhere in the water. He's seeing if he could spear something, but we need to make sure that this is legal size. These guys need to be 10 inches. That's 10.
Nice keeper, he's pretty small.
Nice.
Go Pete. But mangroves are one of the shiftiest fish to shoot. I mean, the mangrove snapper is a perfect fish to practice on. They're not giant fish, so you gotta really have good aim. Ready to go get some lobsters, brother?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Lobsters are some of the most delicious bugs that live at the bottom of the ocean, so it's no surprise so many people are after them. Connor is taking us to the shallows where there's an abundance of life anywhere you look, but somehow this still worked its way into the ocean.
You guys gotta always help out the environment when you can. This is no good, a piece of plastic. That's what turtles munch on, so we definitely take this out of the water. Here we go, dog. Let's do it.
First look at the new environment. It's very obvious that it's different from the last one. Here we're going to be hunting the grass flats and it kind of looks like an enchanted forest. One more thing, I'm going to try to use a lobster snare today. It's pretty much a lasso that you try to stick around the lobster's tail. Now, even though it's possible to find a lobster in these areas, what we're really looking for is the edge of the grass flat. You can see we found it here, and in the middle of two patches we found a lobster trap, which is a good sign because it means commercial divers were recently in the area and there are definitely lobsters here. Certain parts of the ledge are going to be thinner than others, and you want a really thick part of the ledge because that's where the most holes are going to be. So every time you find one, you go up to it, stick your lobster snare in there. If there's something in the hole, you could usually feel it fighting back a little bit. With this particular hole, there was a lobster in there, but I wasn't able to force my snare back behind him because the hole was so skinny. So eventually I just reached my hand in and was finally able to secure it. But then as I was taking a closer look at it swimming back to the boat, I noticed the only thing that was suspect is that this thing literally has no legs.
Happy to report Connor is a pro when it comes to finding the lobsters.
As long as it doesn't go past that back of his shell, he's a keeper. If I measure it correctly, keeper.
To get the best tasting lobster possible, I've made a list of requirements. Here they are. Requirement number 1, the lobster has to be legal size. Look at that, we just mentioned that. Requirement number 2, the lobster is not allowed to have shell rot. Shell rot is a disease that crustaceans experience, causing them to eventually not be able to molt and die. Unfortunately, this lobster does have shell rot. Like, bruh, how you gonna have no legs? We didn't even make it to requirement 3.
So this guy's going back in the water. Oh wow, really shallow. I could like stand here.
One of my favorite parts about being in the outdoors is that there's something called bycatch, and that's when you accidentally catch something that isn't the target species. Here you see Connor reaching shoulder deep into a hole, and I have no idea what he's about to bring out until I see this.
Oh
found this nice stone crab, native here to Florida.
So what's the law? We're only able to keep one of their claws?
So there is no law whether you're able to keep one or two. Me personally, if they're both big claws, I'll take them both, just because what happens with these stone crabs is when you do take them both, they'll go into the sand and actually burrow up, instead of if you take one, they'll be a little bit cranky and they'll actually try to fight with their peers.
What is a stone crab like this worth if you were to sell it in the market?
About $50 a pound.
There's a specific way you're supposed to harvest their claws. If you just take their claws and you don't know what you're doing, you could kill them. So Connor, you're the expert.
So yeah, like Nick was saying, if you have a knife on board or something pointy, and go right into that joint, twist it a bit, and once the stone crab feels that, he's actually gonna release it himself. And usually what that does,
look at that,
is it'll just pop right off naturally, and you could see, if you look right here, there's no hole inside the crab. So it's gonna go back to living its normal life without a claw. That's how you ensure that you have a healthy stone crab population and you're not killing the crabs.
The next bycatch we got wasn't necessarily edible, but it is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in the ocean. I feel like in this clip, I look like a dog with a bone just going back to the boat or its owner.
This water is so freaking cold, guys. It's actually nuts. I'm also having a little bit of an asthma attack.
3, 2, 1.
Just found this massive starfish.
Well, I didn't have much to say about Patrick. It was with good reason. I am starving. We started by carefully scanning the ledges to see if we could find any holes with any signs of life. You can see how concentrated Connor is right here. That means he's locked in, mainly because I really told him I was starving. After a bit of searching, I saw 2 sets of whiskers poking out of this hole. Now, this is a great sign, but it's a little bit of a tricky situation because if you spook one of them, both of them are gonna start freaking out. The sand is gonna go everywhere. It's not gonna be as easy of a catch as you would hope. I start by putting my lobster lasso in on the right very slowly, and as I'm doing this, I noticed the lobster on the right is also a lot bigger. The little one shot out of the hole and I was able to get my lobster lasso around him, but then when I took him out of the water,
Got him. That's a small one. There's a bigger one in there though, Nick.
when I look back down, the big one was sitting on top of the grass flat, which is like the perfect scenario. I'm slowly trying to work the lobster lasso around the lobster's tail. You could see right when I got it, I dove down and secured it right away. I was so excited, mainly because it was looking like I wasn't gonna go hungry.
Let's go!
Hey. Now that we have this buck, it's finally time to see if he qualifies.
Requirement number 1, the lobster has to be legal size, which it is. Number 2 is looking good as well, as this is the perfect specimen with 0 signs of shell rot. Requirement number 3 is where the suspense comes in, because I only eat female lobsters. Don't ask me why, it's a personal preference.
Right here, I see that this is a female. It does not have its erect little antennae right here.
Now that I found the perfect lobster, it's time to cook.
Food for thought. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm freaking starving.
By the way, there are gonna be 2 segments to this, which include cooking and tasting the lobster, and then giving that fish I caught earlier to my grandma.
This is the tail of the Florida spiny lobster, and the reason that we have it here is because you don't really eat the head on the Florida spinies. We went ahead and threw the head back into the ocean. That's gonna make it so that something else can eat that. Best for sustainability. I'm happy to announce I got brand new kitchenware too. We're gonna be using my titanium always pan to make this lobster.
This is game-changing titanium cookware that combines searing power of stainless steel with virtually indestructible non-stick performance. This kitchenware is oven-safe, dishwasher safe, and compatible with all stovetops. These pots come with a limited lifetime warranty, so this might be the only cookingware that you'll ever need to buy. You can check them out at the link below. Use code NICK10 for 10% off your first purchase.
Whenever you're cooking a lobster tail like this, you want to cut it in half, specifically when you're sauteing. You're left with this beautiful lobster meat, and if you look closely, there's a poop sack right in the middle of it. You want to make sure you remove this. Okay, you're just gonna take that out. Ew. For seafood, I always go like super light seasonings because I really want the flavors from the ocean. So all we're gonna go with is like a light layer of salt. Oftentimes the meat will start to react because it's not used to the extra sodium being directly on it. This is really something you only see when you catch a lobster like the same day. Step 1, put a dollop of butter in your pan. Once your butter is fully melted, you're gonna put your lobster right onto the always pan. When your lobster is cooking, you wanna make sure that you put the lid on. That's gonna make it so that all the butter stays in the pot. It doesn't evaporate out. What I like about these pans is that the lids like actually lock in place. Like listen to this. You know that's closed. It actually smells fire right now. It smells really good. So it's been on there for like 2 or 3 minutes now. With my seafood, I really don't like to cook it too much and give her a nice flip. Ow. Wow, that looks gas. That looks incredible. All right, it's been cooking for like 4 minutes on each side. Honestly, it came out beautiful. We have that nice golden brown all across it. And then even looking at its shell, you can see that it has light pinks all throughout it. This thing was cooked very well. It should all come out in one fell swoop. This takes time. I'm pretty meticulous because I feel like the pull is everything. Let's stop wasting time. How does it taste?
8 out of 10.
All right, now let's go give that fish to my grandma.
Where are you?
He's hiding.
He's hiding from his Grandmama?
I've got good news. Grandma, you know how you said you wanted a fish?
I sure did.
I might have exceeded expectations.
Oh my God! And crab claws?
These are stone crabs.
Yeah, stone crab. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. Oh boy, good breakfast tomorrow. Come on in, guys.
Lastly, I really want to thank Our Place for sponsoring this video. This is my first YouTube sponsorship. I feel like this is a massive piece of growth just for me as a creator. I've been making videos for 5 years, and it's crazy to think 5 years in, I'm getting my first brand deal on YouTube, and it just goes to show, never stop. 5 years in, and it just starts now.